Ms. Young, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, Ms. Young, you're muted.
Unmute. Now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening. Paducah Board of Adjustments, Monday, January the 25th, 2021, 5:30 meeting. Meeting call to order. We stand and say the pledge. Our setting say the pledge. Pledge.
Allegiance.
Thank you. Now I'm going to turn the meeting over to Josh.
Welcome, everybody. Being the first meeting of 2021, the first order of business is to elect a chair and vice chair for 2021. I'm going to open the floor up for nominations for chair.
Carol Young, I nominate Alberta Davis as chair.
Are there any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none, do I hear a motion to nominate Alberta by acclamation?
Yes.
So moved.
Josh,
And
to stop that. No. I nominate Perry.
Alberta has better understanding of parliamentary procedure than I do.
All right.
well, you two can sort it out, or I can take the vote.
There'll be a lot of mistakes if you let me do it.
Me too.
No, y'all will be fine.
Alberta, if I've done it, you can do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, so I need the nomination for Mr. Perry withdrawn.
Okay, withdrawn.
All righty.
Thank you.
Now, just to be sure, is there any other more nominations for chair? Okay. Mr. Georgie just joined. Mr. Georgie, we have a nomination for Alberta for chair. Would you like to make any nominations, Mr. Georgie? Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, I apologize for being late. I would nominate Carol.
Carol declines. I've been there.
Okay. All right. So we've got a nomination for Ms. Davis for chair for 2021. Do I hear a motion to nominate Ms. Davis by acclamation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey, Chair Davis, take it away for vice chair, please.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
Open the floor up for nominations for vice chair.
Okay. I open up for a vice chair. Does anybody like to nominate somebody?
Go ahead and nominate Patrick Perry.
Second.
Second.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Ms. Davis, if you would call for a vote for, ask for a motion for acclamation.
Josh, would you call the roll?
Okay, this is to elect Mr. Perry as vice chair. Roll call vote. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Georgie.
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair Davis, we're ready for the minutes whenever you are.
Okay, let me find them. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for this. I move that the reading of the minutes for December the 28th, 2020 be waived and that the minutes of said meeting as prepared by staff be approved as written.
Second.
Okay, go ahead and call it to vote.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Ms. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Georgie,
Aye.
Chair Davis.
Aye.
Go ahead.
Josh,
If you would like to call on somebody to read the next item of business.
okay. Does it matter which item's first?
Yes, the 5235 Evan Barkley Drive is the first on the agenda. If you'll nominate or ask somebody from the BOA to read that.
Ms. Carol, would you read that for us, please?
Okay, this is the first case. It's US 20221. Its property address is 5235 Allen Barkley Drive. Applicant is Martin Bailey and Guy Gray Manufacturing Company. Request is for a gasoline station conditional improvement in B1 zone.
Do you actually, can you read that motion, Ms.
Okay, let me go back to, okay, where's the motion? It's from, just a minute, just let me find it a minute. Well, I'm not finding my motion.
You want me to go ahead and read it?
Yeah, would you please?
Sure. I move that the Board of Adjustment open the public hearing regarding case USE 2021-001 for property located at 5235 Allen Barkley Drive. I further move that this case be tabled generally until a recommendation is received for the Planning Commission.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, very good.
Chair Davis, I'd like to explain that a little bit, if you'd like for me to, for
Yes, please.
everybody on the Zoom tonight. On Thursday, the Planning Commission tabled the recommendation to the Board of Adjustment for this case, which is a proposed Huck store at the corner of North Friendship Road and Alvin Barkley Drive. Per the Paducah zoning ordinance, a recommendation has to be made from the Planning Commission to the Board of Adjustment. As this item was already advertised in the paper and the adjacent property owners notified, we have to open the public hearing and then table it until that recommendation is received. And that is the motion that is on the floor right now.
Does anybody have any thoughts in this?
Is anybody from the public present that wants to comment on this particular issue?
I think there is some there. I don't see them right now, but I saw them a while ago.
Okay. Maybe to remind them to unmute and see if they want to provide comment.
Yeah, I can go ahead and start just with own personal thoughts. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've just got concerns and don't really want it, mainly because of noise. There's a lot of, I don't know how many of you know what a Jake brake is on a semi-tractor trailer, but there's a lot of noise that comes off that highway from that activity. That activity is not actually allowed, as far as I can tell anyway. So we're just having to try to get a hold of that activity through there. There's just bad habits over the years have been made with a potential, I don't, you can call it a hux or a truck stop or more traffic to that area. There's a noise concern from me, but there's other concerns too. I'm sure other people on there, and I don't think it's needed either. But I don't think that's for me to judge. So anyway, that's where I'm coming from.
I'll go ahead and speak up real quick. As a resident of this area, I have a safety concern.
Also, if our speakers could please identify yourselves for the record, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, this is Stephanie Sundberg, and I am a licensed clinical social worker with the community mental health, and also a resident of this area. And just, I just have a safety concern. I'm a parent, and you just don't hear a lot of good stuff about truck stops. And I'm just throwing out my opinion. There's the noise. There's, the fact that there's a 5-star right down the road. Just wanted to kind of put in my 2 cents.
Thank you.
I'd like to add something. I'm Jackie Smith, and we are also property owners across the street from this proposed truck stop. And I would just like to say that we've noted over the years many accidents and high traffic. A lot of young people are using that thoroughfare to drive to the high school. I think it'd be extremely dangerous to have big 18-wheelers pulling in and out on that corner. It's just not conducive. The slope of the land, it just isn't the way it lays. It's not conducive to have any more traffic added to the area, even if we widen the roads. I think we just also need to consider the WKCTC right next door. Landville Road is a very nice road that enters into Paducah, and you are going to pull a lot of excess traffic in there, and you're going to take what is primarily a residential neighborhood and turn it into something much more commercial, which I think will disappoint a lot of people that not only own property in the area, but enjoy that drive into town every day. I think it's worth considering what it does to our community and the way the city is presented. And we have, like has been said, we have access to gasoline. We have, I think, 0.6 of a mile down the road, we already have a 5-star, which was much more suitably located right by the interstate. So there's really no point in congesting that one corner any more than already has been done. And maybe something could be put there residential, maybe I'm not opposed to having something added there, but just something that wouldn't bring in 18-wheelers and heavy traffic.
Thank you, Jackie. Is anyone else?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, who is this?
Okay, hi there. I am Ellen Powless. I live on Guyline Drive. And I do have a clarifying question that I'd like to have answered. Is this establishment going to be operating 24/7?
I would think so, yeah.
Hi, this is Troy Dietz with Husk. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I work in the real estate department with Husk, and I guess to answer that question specifically, yes, we would operate 24 hours. That was what we would normally do. And a couple of the other comments was talking about the truck stop. We definitely are not putting any truck stop there. The plans, when we showed the initial site plans that we were proposing, we had a separate diesel island so that, vehicles that were pulling trailers or pulling something that was, a lawn service or a Lowe's truck, instead of pulling into the auto fueling positions, you could get some diesel at a different position there. So we had them separated, but and when I talked to Josh initially, he asked about the trucks. I said, absolutely not. We don't want trucks parked there. We don't want semis. And so I believe we're removing that and asked to have that removed. And that we do not want semis trying to get in and out of Old Friendship Road and out on the road there either. So I just want to make sure that, the folks really weren't thinking that we were going to be having semis coming in there and parking and trying to get in and out of that property. We would deliver grocery there and deliver fuel, so there would have to be some sort of larger vehicle to get in there and get out, but that's not what business we're putting there. It's a 6,000 square foot convenience store selling gas. It has auto diesel for diesel pickup trucks and others, but when we do have the space, and there is a lot of space towards the back, we try to put any of the diesel islands where you might get blocked off if someone has a longer stretch they're pulling, if it's a camper or whatever they're pulling, where it doesn't block off and get so congested by the gas. But under no circumstance we want to mislead someone to thinking we were putting a truck stop in there.
Chair Davis, I would be glad to share my screen and pull the plans up if you and the board would like.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay. Give me just 1 second here.
James property?
Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me scroll down one. And I can describe staff's request as well, that this was the diesel canopy proposed in the back, and staff has asked that this be removed. And it's my understanding from petitioners that also no parking signs will be placed around in this area of the site to discourage truck traffic from parking back there. There's not going to be any showers. Mr. Dietz, feel free to further describe.
And again, it's, when you have a facility, it's hard to keep any type of vehicle out. I'm just saying that that is not what we propose to have as a truck stop. We would not allow semis to park back there. We would not, again, it was enough space to allow someone, a vehicle that was a little larger, that go in between the gas pumps to get the diesel that would be out those for the auto diesel, a place to be able to fuel up. But that is not our intent. We would not allow anyone to stay. And even it sounds like we are agreeable to remove those diesel pumps from the back there if that's the concern, that could happen. We would definitely post it. But you have a big lot like that, and then they'll tend to pull in there, and that's not our intent whatsoever.
Well, they will, though. Some of the other items that staff has asked for is screening on the, if you look at it from the east-west point of view, screening on this side of the site and this side, dark sky regulations to be followed, which is recessed or shielded lighting, so that all lighting is contained on the site. And these buildings in the back are proposed to remain, which staff felt is a good idea because it blocks noise from going up up the hill here. And also to note, another thing that the Planning Commission has asked for as of Thursday is a traffic study, which is my understanding is fixing to get started, but I can let the petitioners speak to that.
Yeah, I don't know if our engineer's on the line. This is Troy again. But yes, that was asked in the planning meeting last week. And so he's been working on to get a quote for that and see and get that started. I guess to point that, because traffic has been brought up a lot, and there is a lot of already existing traffic that comes through there. We feel that, you know, it's not going to direct any more traffic to that intersection. Getting in and out, we want to make it as safe as possible. It wouldn't help us any to spend that large investment and put that store in there and then have, you know, customers and the public there to have a issue trying to get in and out of the lot. So that's what was proposed to us. We have no issue with getting the traffic study information and getting started on it to see what needs to be done to make it a safe in and out of our parking lot. As far as driving more traffic through the intersection or down the highway, you know, that traffic's already there, but I think that traffic study will at least give all of us a chance to review exactly what it might mean to that intersection to have a convenience store there. So that's in the process now.
I would just like to say on that, you know, when you pull up to that light already, sometimes you have to wait 2 times before you can go through. And when you start, people become more aggressive trying to get in and out. And I think it's going to be a problem right there for people to get in and out on a regular basis like we do for a convenience store. People, the key word there is convenience. People try to zip in there, grab what they want, and zip right back out. Well, that's not a place where that can happen. I mean, that's just, you know, it's already lined up all ways. And so you're going to get aggressive driving. And I think if you'll look and you'll see this traffic study, you're going to see that there's already a lot of accidents in that area. We watch it all the time. And so that's what I think, if, you know, if everyone's really honest, that's what they're going to see. And the other thing that concerns me, the part B of that, is I just don't think we need anything open 24 hours a day. I don't think that is conducive to a neighborhood, and especially your next door neighbors. I don't think that'll be conducive to Lotus at all.
All right. Could you tell us your name?
My name is Jackie Smith.
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
Sorry.
So my name is Todd Duff. I already spoke a little bit earlier, but just to clarify there, for me, it's not so much about where things are positioned or if buildings are going to remain or not, or getting rid of pumps. It's about kind of a longer game. We've lived there for 20 years. We plan on living there for another 20. It's more of a long-term scope creep. So if that's across the street, then what opens up across the street, then you start to peel back the layers of the onion on zoning. And then, so it's more of a big picture for me. But anyway, my piece is done.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Summers. Riley Love here. I spoke at the meeting the other night. To reiterate a couple of the points, which are rather similar to what Todd Duff just said, it would be difficult to imagine a worse companionship of a business enterprise and that existing neighborhood. You know, when you look across at the well-manicured and tasteful grounds of the college, the residential neighborhoods nearby, the tasteful office buildings there at the dentistry and physical therapy offices right there next door. As I mentioned the other night, I believe, of course, that the calling card of Paducah is the charm, the tranquility, the attractiveness of these kind of neighborhoods. This would certainly diminish, and I believe diminish property values there locally because of this. It would be far better to cultivate a commercial sale there for some that would enhance property values, not diminish them. And there was some discussion of traffic issues. All of us who spoke the other night perceived that this is already a high accident thoroughfare, this intersection. And of course, it's not just commercial traffic, it's mothers driving their children, school buses go through there. And so this is a large issue. I'm old enough to have seen poor decisions made in similar choices. The idea that it would be very hard to undo a bad choice now. I'm not sure if I'm still on my screen change.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, and so one of the other things that I wish someone might share is in past years, there was a priority list of traffic improvements or road improvements for the state of Kentucky. And this road over to the mall, which was a newer concept and a much more vital enterprise then, was on that list. I can't help but think that the reason this might be an attractive site for a diesel and gasoline filling station would be because at some point that road is going to be changed and the traffic increased because of it. Does anybody have any knowledge about where that project stands on the state's priority list?
Mr. Love, I can speak to that. That was mentioned at the Planning Commission meeting on Thursday. I have emailed Jim Lefevre. He is the transportation planner at the PAD, Purchase Area Development District, to get some more information on that. The document that you're referring to is what used to be known as the 6-year plan, which is changed into what is called the recommended highway plan that the state legislature adopts every 2 years. I'm waiting to get some more information back on that, and I hope to present that at the Planning Commission meeting, either the 1st or the 15th of February, whenever the traffic study is done and have all that information together.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Lori Brown, and I'm the Executive Director with Lotus, and we are the Regional Children's Advocacy and Sexual Violence Resource Program. And we actually own the property located at 1605 North Friendship Road, which sits directly to the left adjacent to the property that we're here to discuss tonight. I actually was not planning to talk tonight because I understood this was going to be tabled, but I will go ahead and share a couple of primary concerns because I'm certainly in agreement with some of the community members who have spoken. And I also have been working with and talking to the State Highway Department about that plan, as we have invested about $3.5 million in developing our campus, specifically designing not only the facilities to provide specialized services, but creating an outdoor sanctuary project with green spaces that are designed to enhance tranquility and spaces for survivors to be able to heal and recover. We wanted to make sure that we were working with that plan. And so they have shared those plans and have said that the development in this area will occur within about the next 18 months to 2 years. So it definitely will be happening. And my understanding is they are going to take about 20 feet from the front of the property that runs along the front of Friendship Road. So that's the information that I'm aware of with regard to that project. With regard to the concerns, I will certainly reiterate the concerns about this intersection being very highly congested and dangerous. And even though the folks at Martin and Bailey are saying that locating a Hux there will not increase the traffic, it certainly will increase the risk for people who are there trying to come in and out from both Alvin Barkley and Friendship Drive. It's extremely dangerous. For those of you that know that intersection, you know that ingress and egress, you cannot pull back onto Alvin Barkley Drive without going across the turning lane, which is extremely dangerous. And they also shared, that most of their business is done, at peak traffic times, which would be in the morning and certainly late afternoon and evening. For us, our driveway sits right next to the ingress egress that goes onto Friendship Road. We already have tremendous challenges with the clients and families who come to our facility, as well as our partners. We have Our investigators, city police officers, Kentucky State police officers, our sheriff's department, who are there. So not only do we serve those clients and families, but we serve the partners who serve those clients and families. And so they're already, when it's busy on those roads, it's already difficult for them to come in and out. So thinking about, when we are under normal operating conditions, when we get through COVID, the volume, of clients that we're serving and community partners who are in and out of our campus, to think about what's going to happen when we are trying to get out of the driveway and they're not going to be able to turn left. And I know in talking to the highway department that, they will have to permit, if they were to locate there, they will have to get permits for how those ingress and egresses operate, and that they could put some restrictions on being able to allow traffic to even turn left out onto Friendship Road, which would mean that most of the traffic coming in there would have to turn right onto Friendship Road, which some people who spoke at the Planning Commission the other night talked about how there's already issues with that intersection causing issues at other intersections on down by St. Thomas More. And so this would just continue to compound, the traffic issues that are already there. I'm very interested in learning more about crash data that already exists at that intersection. I think we all know that would certainly increase, so in addition to, I think, certainly the safety issues that go along with increasing an already congested traffic intersection, we are really concerned about the impact that this will have on the clients and the families that we serve. The people that we serve have been through some of the worst that life has to offer. They already don't feel safe in the world, not even safe in their own bodies. We have been really fortunate because of the support of this community, as well as the state of Kentucky, to be able to develop this campus for survivors, not just who come in for traditional service, but for survivors in the community to be able to come out and use nature, create opportunities for them to be able to heal and recover. And so for a gas station, which is the highest, volume of traffic kind of business that could possibly go in there, for there to be that much activity with people coming and going, it certainly will disrupt that sanctuary, that sense of safety and confidentiality and comfort that survivors need. It certainly will create barriers so that we will have victims who will choose not to come in and get the services that they need to be able to heal and recover. Those are some of the highlights of the concerns that we have. And I'm looking forward to, again, learning more and have an opportunity to speak again.
Thank you, Lori. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, this is Joe Pittard. I'm also a member of the neighborhood, and I have some of the concerns that Ms. Brown just spoke to. And one thing that I think needs to be thrown out as very important at this meeting also is the health risk that this involves and this brings to it. And everyone knows that gas stations put out all sorts of harmful fumes, including, benzenes and toluenes and those type of vapors. I'd be interested in knowing from the Hux company what plan they have to put in place to provide and ensure the safety of these children in this facility next door, because I think that is a real risk. There are long-term effects of being outside and being around these environmental agents, and I think that that's something that needs to be considered for brought up. And also, I'm also concerned about the buildings in the back. I know they're there and they have plans to keep them, but I've also heard that there's rumors that they're talking about subdividing or doing something later with that in the back. And I'd be interested, not only from a personal standpoint, but from the Lotus standpoint, is what is the plan for future development of the warehouses in the back?
Troy, can you answer that?
Okay, yeah. There is no plan to subdivide, or we don't know what to do with the buildings. They just weren't interfering with the store that was going to be out further towards the intersection. We didn't need to tear them down whatsoever. And so I think they're used as storage, or at least some sort of storage now would probably be something like that. It wouldn't be, but there's no plan to do anything to subdivide that out and have some sort of business or some sort of activity or anything that's back there at those buildings. I mean, right now, we're not planning to remove them due to the fact we didn't need that space back there. So,
Are you gonna try to lease them?
I don't know. I think that we don't want them to get junked up. We don't want to get them activity back there that we can't control. So I would think that we would just have to look and see what is the best idea to do with them, and talk to in the community and see what's needed or what could be used for. But we weren't tearing them down due to the fact we weren't going to be building on that space back there. And that would be something we'd have to decide what we're doing with as we go forward. But there is no plan in place on what to do with them. And as far as the environment, we're inspected all the time at all of our facilities, and every compliance agency that checks on us, that does the monthly check. We have everything we turn into the state every month at every site in every state. And so whatever laws are in place as far as emissions and all those things that go in, and all of our pumps and all of our tanks, we have every bell or whistle on everyone, that if there's anything that leaks, anything that comes out, then we know immediately. And as far as the environment and the air pollution, again, whatever compliance are put in place, I assure you we have them. And I don't know what fumes or what would be going out over that would impact any kind of neighbor. But any laws or any compliance that's put in place by any agency, I assure you they're inspected and we comply 100%.
There's also some concern from the neighbors as far as groundwater contamination, which is a big, a risk that goes along with service stations. The other issue is that I know that service stations and these type of businesses have a finite amount of time that they're worthwhile and useful. And so I do know from past experiences that some of these facilities are very difficult to do anything else with, to repurpose later in life. And so that's another concern for an area that's very residential at this point in time. And we'd like to make sure that we preserve the residential nature of the neighborhood.
Yes, and I have shared with Josh, again, this is Troy, what the store would look like, what we're proposing to put there. I've shared that, and as much as that could get into any of your all hands, that would be fine with me. Or if he can give my contact information, Josh, to the folks that called in, I'd be glad for them to be able to see that and what that looks like.
I can share my screen.
I called in. I'm not on the Zoom, so I can't see that.
I've got the elevations pulled up right now. The Zoom participants are looking at the elevations on the front and rear and sides.
Do they see the image of what the front of what the store actually looks like?
Yes.
Okay.
Will there be a large sign like most Hucks have?
You mean like a road sign?
Or just one that's elevated very high that you can see coming down?
Well, if we're allowed to have a road sign, or if it works out there, it's fine. A lot of times we use that for gas prices, but if we can put those on a canopy, then a road sign wouldn't be necessary. We haven't got that far into it yet.
Yeah, and I also wondered, will you be selling lottery tickets and things like that?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. We don't. No.
I have another question I would like to ask. This is Ellen Powers. And again, I'm a resident in this area. I understand that the current revision to the plans have now removed the fueling station in the back for the big trucks. I guess my question, I'm assuming that it is for this board, but perhaps it might be better directed toward our city commissioners. I am concerned about zoning, and I understand that currently Hucks has no plans to remove those buildings in the back, but going forward, much like Mr. Duff said in regard to the long-term plan, would Hucks be allowed to remove those buildings in the back once they take possession of the property and put in additional fueling stations for 18-wheelers? Is that currently within the realm of zoning to allow for that if they so chose or, choose to do that in the future?
Chair Davis, I would be glad to address that if you like.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Miss Palace. That area is zone B1, which is convenience and service zone. It's the lowest density commercial zone that the city has, which is the primary reason that this is a conditional use instead of a use that is just principally permitted. One of the recommendations from staff that went to the Planning Commission on Thursday was for any type of redevelopment to happen in the back of the property, either to remove the buildings or to build something else, would take an additional approval from planning staff to make sure that screening would be maintained. As far as enlarging the type of use on the site, such as 4 tractor trailers that you mentioned, that would take an additional conditional use or an expansion of this particular petition, but it would have to go through another public hearing and things like that would be the short answer. It's my understanding that it's not the intent, and I'll let Mr. Dietz speak to that because I don't want to speak out of turn and speak for him. But if that what were to happen or was to be proposed, then there would be another public hearing for a facility such as that.
That's the way we understand it also, so yeah.
This is Joe Pittard again. I guess my concern there is once they're allowed to be there and they're up and running, then it's going to be a lot easier for them to make these changes at a later time because they already have presence. And I think if we're going to do anything to prevent that happening, we need to prevent this project from happening now because it will raise its head later.
Okay, is there anyone else would like to speak? Okay,
Chair,
Josh.
yeah, one thing that I would like to mention is if this is voted, the motion on the floor is to table this to the next Board of Adjustment meeting, which would be February the 22nd. For everybody on the Zoom, the same Zoom link that you signed in tonight for tonight's meeting is the exact same Zoom link for 5:30, February 22nd. I just wanted to throw that out there so that nothing on that's changing, but we also invite you to join the Planning Commission on the 1st, which I believe I've sent to everybody that had emailed me. And if you don't have that, please feel free to send me an email and I can send you that link. It's jsummer, SOMMER, at paducahky.gov, and I would be happy to provide you the link. But for everybody joining for the next Board of Adjustment on the 22nd, it's the exact same Zoom link that you used tonight. And thank you, Chair Davis, for letting me clarify that.
Okay. You think that's all on this subject?
Josh, do we need to vote on the motion or is that all we need to do?
Yes, we need a vote whenever the chair calls for the vote.
Okay.
Okay, Josh, call the roll.
Okay. Mr. Georgie.
Aye.
Mr. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Young.
Aye.
Chair Davis.
Aye.
Josh, will the board members need to hang on to the documentation that we currently have, or will we be provided new one next for the next meeting.
Please hold on to what you have, and what other information I receive will be in your next packets as it pertains to this case.
Thank you.
Mr. Perry, would you like to read the next case?
Yes. One moment here. Let me reshuffle my. Was the Broadway one next, or the?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
I move that the board receive and file the application of Durham Construction LLC for approval of a 3.5-foot side yard setback variance request for a climate-controlled storage building to be constructed 8 feet from the west property line at 1140 Broadway. I further move that A, the requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the general vicinity or in the same zone, and B, the strict application of the provisions of the regulation would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land or would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. And C, the circumstances are not the result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulation from which relief is sought. I further move that the variance be approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Perry. Do we have any comments?
We need a second.
A second? Okay,
Carol Young, second.
okay. Any comments from anyone?
I can speak. We do have the engineer for the petitioner on the line, but I will go ahead and speak to some history of this site. That the Planning Commission, within their capacity, already did approve one variance on this side of the lot for 13.5 feet. And that was done in conjunction with a zoning change, which is allowed by state statute. Since that variance was allowed by the state statute and already established, that's why it is coming before the Board of Adjustment now, since they're wanting to adjust what's already been established. Mr. Goins, if you would like to add to that.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So after we got the original variance approved by the Planning Commission, the client and contractor submitted their building plans to the inspection department, and there was a building code issue on the along the east property line. The building was intended to be 16.5 feet from the east property line. But the building code had a requirement that it needed to be 20 feet. So what that would involve would be us moving the building or shifting it 3.5 feet further to the west to comply with that building code requirement. So now what we're in essence doing, we are giving more room on the west side than what we actually asked for on that original variance, but we are 3.5 feet closer to the east property line. And so in other words, had we known of this building code issue, this is the original variance that we would have submitted with that initial application. So it's sort of to correct what we've already had approved. So we're a little tighter now on the west line, but we're further away from the east line. So it's, in a sense, it's a slightly better situation on the east line than it was.
Thank you, Josh.
Josh, is there another business or building next to that line that may have an issue with the west?
There is an auto upholstery shop there, and I believe it's Paducah Wheel and Tire, and both those businesses were notified of the variance, and I have not heard any negative response.
Nothing. Okay. Good to know.
And just to add to that, we're still the building on the east is 23. It's 23 feet or will be from this new building, and that's still the closest building. The ones on the west are much further away still.
Well, I just want to make sure that say they property owner doesn't have a problem with it being closer, but if they do not, I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Jason? Is there any other comments? Josh?
Yes, ma'am.
Dish, I think that's all. Should we call the roll?
Whenever you're ready, Madam Chair.
I'm ready. Unless there's any more comments. Last chance. We're ready.
Mr. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Young.
Aye.
Mr. Georgie.
Aye.
Chair Davis.
Aye. Thank you, Josh. Who wants to read the last case on 3845 Niblett Lane? Mr. Erie, you want to do that one?
Sure. I move that this board receive and file the application of Michael and Deborah Walker for the approval of a 10-foot rear yard setback variance request for a single-family home to be constructed 15 feet from the south property line at 3845 Niblick Lane. I further move that the requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the general vicinity or in the same zone, and the strict application of the provisions of the regulation would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land or would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. And the circumstances are not the result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulation from which relief is sought. I further move that the variance be approved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do you have any comments or any information, Josh?
Yes, this is for a new single-family home. The variance is being requested due to a steep slope in the front. It's a 14% slope, which is pretty substantial. And topography is one of the reasons that variances can be granted, is outlined in state statute. Mr. Gardner is also here, which is the engineer working on the variance, and with the petitioners, if he would like to add anything to that.
Can you hear me, Josh?
We can hear you, Mike.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. The original lot, if you can see on your plat, I think that you were provided, the developer gave them 20 extra feet to help them with the house, and that's the crosshatched area in the back. That did help, but the house that they wanted to put on there still went over the 25-foot rear building line. There's due to the topography up front, there's no way they could get the house any closer toward the street to help because of the steep slope. You got to remember, on the front, there's a 20-foot public utility easements, and there are buried utilities in that area, which you cannot disturb any of the land in that particular area. So they would only be able to trim back from that 20-foot utility easement, which would make it even steeper, and would make it look pretty drastic as far as just sitting up on a hill and going straight down to the road. So what we're requesting is to still keep a 15-foot backyard and just ask for a 10-foot variance on that from 25 to 15.
Thank you. Anybody got any insight into this? Did you go look at it?
Well, it hasn't been built yet, right?
No.
That's correct.
I drove out there and looked at it. I didn't really see any issues at all. It is a steep lot.
You didn't see any issues, Alberta, meaning
No.
that
I did not. Of course, I couldn't see what was behind it on the other side. The hill was so steep. What was behind that? What was on the other side of the hill, sir, Mr. Gardner?
Okay.
It starts to flatten out in the back, much better, and slope off from what would be from west to east, which the eastern part being the side toward Westwood Boulevard. They don't even plan on putting in a driveway because of the steep slope in front. They are going to use the alley that is on, if you're looking and standing on Niblick Lane and looking at the lot, it would be on your left side, on the Westwood Boulevard side. That will be their actual entrance, and they'll be using that. It's a paved alley. They'll be using that part and coming into their garage in the back.
Oh, okay.
What's down here where the variance is being requested? Who's the next door neighbor, or is that just an open lot?
In the back is still owned by the developer, which at this time he doesn't have any intention on putting in a road and developing that into any future building lots. He's thinking maybe a consolidated development such as townhomes or something like that that would front on a different road and would not affect this property whatsoever. There will be no other lot in this subdivision that would be next to this one.
Okay, thank you. Josh, you got any insight?
Just what staff has already stated, that our recommendation is for approval based on topography.
Well, I didn't see that it was harming anything to do that, to give them that extension or that variance. There's nothing really next to it.
Okay.
If anybody else got anything? No. All right, Mr. Josh, call the roll.
Mr. Georgie?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Ms. Young?
Aye.
Chair Davis?
Aye.
Okay.
Is that it, Josh?
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to tell you did a good job, Alberta.
Oh, thank you. You're my sidekick, okay?
Well, I appreciate you stepping up, and
All right, well, thank you.
I wanted to
Put it that way.
Thank you,
I
Al.
wanted to thank all the people that came to the presentation tonight.
Pardon?
I said I wanted to thank all of the people that came and gave presentations tonight.
Yeah, I thought that.
It's always appreciated.
Yeah, we appreciate all of them if you're still on there. Thank you for your input. All right, guys. Are we adjourned, Josh?
6:28.
28.
6:28 is whenever we officially adjourn.
Okay.
Yep.
6:28.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Motion.
Thank you
See you
all.
later. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.